Hare Krishna. Welcome all of you for this special session, Navratri special by folk. Request all of you to please join me to offer these prayers to Srila Prabhupada and to their lordships before we begin today's talk. Please join me. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, once again I welcome all of you for this evening's special session by Folk Navratri Special. So, we are all celebrating Navratri, very meaningful festival, because this festival reminds us a very important lesson in our life. Today is the first day and the last day, Vijaya Dashami. The last day is celebrated as the day of the victory, victorious day. The victory is celebrated. Whose victory? What kind of a victory? Why do we celebrate? Why this festival is so important? Our country is celebrating the festival of victory of good over the evil. We are a very special country. Here, always the virtue's victory over the evil is celebrated. The most famous epic of our country, Sri Valmiki Ramayana, describes the speciality of Navratri. This time is during the war between Lord Ram and the demon king Ravana. Ravana kidnapped Mother Sita for his lusty desires, and later, even after many people advising him, giving him good advices, due to his lust, ego, pride and envy for Lord Rama, he was not ready to return Mother Sita. And Ram, in order to respect Mother Sita, in order to respect a woman's honor, had to travel hundreds and thousands of kilometers, built a bridge over the ocean, reached Lanka and fought with Ravana to get Sita back and to restore her honor. So this entire episode happened during this time, Navaratri time. So the last day of the Dasara festival ends with Vijaya Dashami. And that day, all over India, in fact, all over the world, it is celebrated by burning Ravana's effigy. There are big Ravana's effigies burnt all over our country. 50 feet, sometimes 70 feet, and even bigger and taller than that, the Ravana's effigy is burnt. Just like Ram shot an arrow and killed Ravana. So this entire Navaratri festival is a reminder for all of us what happened to Ravana, what happened to Ravana, the mentality like that of a Ravana. So what we do from today onwards, because today is the beginning of Navaratri, and till the end of this Dasara or Navaratri, scriptures recommend us that we think, we remember and we learn lesson from the glorious activities of the Supreme Lord, Lord Rama. That is the real way of celebrating the festivals. Of course, festivals, we cook feast, we honor the feast, and we enjoy those special lunch, dinner, prasadam. But apart from that, the most important thing is to hear about Lord, remember about Lord. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Vishnu, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Sakyam, Dasyam, Atma Nivedanam. We have to hear about Lord Ram, we have to remember Lord Ram, we have to glorify Lord Ram, and we have to learn lessons from Ramayana. So we decided in the folk, we will present some of the interesting pastimes from Valmiki Ramayana that can teach us life lessons. So there are many things we can learn because it is Navratri and the time is very limited. So we are presenting you selected 9 important mistakes that we can avoid doing in our life, and we can learn what kind of mistakes are these from Valmiki Ramayana. In that way, we also get benefited in our day-to-day life. How do we follow in the footsteps of Lord Ram and the great devotees from Ramayana? When we discuss these topics from Ramayana, we may refer to some of the people, the great personalities from Ramayana who did these mistakes. This doesn't mean we are trying to demean them or we are trying to show them in the negative context. It is only for people like us. Sometimes great people, they perform these activities so that we learn lesson and we don't repeat them in our life. So it is only in that context we are going to discuss. So the first topic that we are going to discuss is about overconfidence. Overconfidence, which is like a nectar, which looks like a nectar, but actually can be as deadly as poisonous if we are not careful about it. So who is this? Who is this personality who teaches us this particular lesson from Ramayana? How to avoid this mistake? Actually, this personality is none other than Lord Rama's father, Dasharatha Maharaj. Dasharatha Maharaj teaches all of us how and why one should not be practicing overconfidence in our life. I will tell you the story from Ramayana, what happened, and then we'll discuss further. Valmiki Ramayana begins the first section, which is Sanskrit called Sarga. It's called, the beginning part of the Ramayana. It talks about the greatness and glorious of Ayodhya city. How Ayodhya is so great and glorious. And when Ayodhya city is being described, the citizens of Ayodhya is also being described. How the citizens are so great, how they are so glorious. It is said that the citizens are so great, they would actually, they're all self-controlled. That means everybody in Ayodhya had control over their senses, control over their mind and their activities. Atma Samyamis. It is so difficult. In today's country, in today's India, our leaders are not self-controlled. We don't even have leaders who are self-controlled. Then what to speak of citizens being self-controlled? But Valmiki Ramayana says that the king Dasharatha was anyway self-controlled, but apart from him, every citizen in Ayodhya, they all had complete control over themselves. Like that, it talks about the greatness of Ayodhya. And when it talks about the citizens, it also says all the citizens, most of them, they were so expert in the archery skills. Archery skills means the art of releasing the arrows, called Dhanur Vidya. Dhanur Vidya, that teaches the military art, the martial art. And so the citizens of Ayodhya, they're so trained, they're so capable that each and every person, they were actually competent to practice this archery skill. You all have seen in some videos and TV serials and probably movies how people shoot arrows, and there are varieties of shooting arrows. But there is one specific archery skill that is called Shabda Vedhi. Shabda. Shabda means sound. Vedhi means pierce. So you attack, you shoot an arrow actually without even seeing the person, simply by hearing the sound about your enemy. You see, when enemy is standing in front of you, shooting an arrow and killing that enemy itself is a very big challenge. It's not so simple, right? Just because enemy is standing in front of you, you shoot an arrow, there is no guarantee that your arrow will go and kill that enemy. If that is only difficult, then imagine the enemy is somewhere far away. He is not visible. He or she is not visible. And simply by hearing the sound of the enemy, you release an arrow, and that arrow will go find that enemy and exactly attacks the enemy. So this is called Shabda Vedhi, the archery skill, the sound archery. And in Ayodhya city, many of the citizens knew this. Now coming to the point, even though Valmiki Ramayana says this much information, that most of the Ayodhya citizens, the soldiers especially, were capable, were competent of Shabdavedi archery skill, the sound archery, but nobody were using it. Nobody were actively participating in Ayodhya. It's a very strange, isn't it? Why is it so? If I tell you, it is like if I tell you that you have gulab jamun, but nobody eats gulab jamun. Oh, if I don't have an intention of eating gulab jamun, then why do I have gulab jamun with me? Why do I cook? Or it is like, if I tell you that you have lots and lots of money, but you don't use that money, then what is the use? Why do we have it? So this question comes naturally. For this, the Ramayana gives us an answer. What is the reason? The reason was the king of Ayodhya, that time it was Dasharatha Maharaj, and Ram was not yet born. He was not born yet. And so Dasharatha Maharaj, who was great king, who knew this archery skill, the Shabdavedi, he was not using it for a reason. And that's the reason even citizens were not using it. There was a very sad story behind it. And this is the story of an overconfidence, which is actually a nectar, but actually at the end it is like a poison. Looks like nectar, but at the end the effect of this overconfidence is as deadly as poisonous. Think of your life. In our life, how many times we are all overconfident? Many times people tell us, oh, where is a question of overconfidence? I don't have confidence only. I don't have confidence to talk. I don't have confidence to go and meet people. When I go onto the stage, I lose my confidence. Sometimes when people face camera, they lose their confidence. So there are many occasions in our life where the confidence we do not have. So we feel, oh, how nice if I can develop self-confidence. Confidence means what you think about yourself. Positively, not negatively. What you positively think about yourself is called confidence, and it is very important. It is like the petrol in the car. If there is no petrol, the car will not move, even though it is a Mercedes-Benz or it could be BMW. But if there is no fuel in the vehicle cannot move. So no matter how well you look and what all talents you have got, if the confidence is not there, you can't do anything in your life. So confidence is very important. But what about overconfidence? Overconfidence means you actually think more than the reality about yourself. If, for example, I can easily lift 5 kg weight, that's my reality. I can lift 5 kg weight. But if I imagine in my head that I can lift 100 kg, 500 kg, that's called overconfidence. And when I try to lift it, 100 kg, then I may break my muscles. I may break my back. You see, it looks very nice. Oh, confidence, overconfidence, but the result is catastrophic. So that's what happened with Dasharatha Maharaj in this case. Once Dasharatha Maharaj, along with his ministers, soldiers, and some of the citizens, he went to a nearby forest for hunting expedition. It is very common for kings to go to forest for hunting for many reasons, like they have to keep in touch with their archery skills, their war skills. They cannot go and attack citizens and human beings and kill them. They have to practice all the skills on animals in the forest. Like scientists, they do experiments on the animals in the laboratory. So like that. And another reason is sometimes like tigers or lions, then the population of these ferocious animals will increase in the forest, and they start coming out of the forest and start troubling the citizens. So the king is responsible for maintaining the peace and order in the society. So they will go into the forest, courageously face these ferocious animals and punish them. So there are many reasons why Kshatriyas used to practice this hunting in the forest. So Dasharatha Maharaj had been to forest for this kind of an hunting expedition. While he was hunting in the forest, he hears the sound. And because Dasharatha Maharaj was knowing this, so he knew this Shabdavedi art. By hearing the sound, he assumed with his overconfidence that, here is my enemy, here must be some tiger, or there is some lion, so I will shoot my arrow, even though I am not able to see that, and I will kill that animal. In this way, he released an arrow just by hearing the sound, and that arrow went and hit the target. And Dasharatha Maharaj was waiting. He was hearing patiently what's going on. And when the arrow went and hits the target, immediately to the surprise and shock of Dasharatha Maharaj, he started hearing a human cry. It was actually not an animal, it was actually a human. My dear father, my dear mother, oh, save me, like that. The kind of a heart-wrenching, crying, painful sound Dasharatha Maharaj heard. It was a big mistake. It was a very big mistake. And Dasharatha Maharaj immediately rushed to that spot. He wanted to go and see what happened. Who is that person? How could he go wrong? And then along with his ministers and other people, when Dasharatha Maharaj reaches the place, he was shocked to see that his arrow has come and hit a sage, one of the young sage by name Shravana Kumara. And he is crying. Dasharatha was in great shock. How is it possible? How could I actually kill one of the sages like this? And then Dasharatha, with great fear, with great guilt, so much of shame, he comes to this Shravana Kumara and tries to rescue him, tries to save him. But situation is out of the control. And Shravana Kumara is crying. He's saying, oh my dear king, what a great mistake you did. I'm not an animal. I'm not inimical to you. I'm not harmful to you. I'm just living so peacefully in the forest. Why did you shoot your arrow to me? And then Dasharatha Maharaj said, oh my dear sage, please forgive me. Actually, I thought you are an animal. Because of my Shabdavedi archery skill, I thought I'm shooting an animal. I'm aiming at one ferocious, harmful animal like lion or a tiger. I didn't know it is you. I did a great mistake. I assumed it was an animal. You see, this is the first lesson we need to learn. Dasharatha Maharaj definitely knows the Shabdavedi skill, the sound archery skill. But when you take yourself too much, that means when you become overconfident, when you do not assess the situation, you're talented. You definitely have abilities. But if you do not recheck, if you assume, assumption is the immediate mistake of overconfidence. Many times, many people do this mistake. First thing is they become overconfident because they're talented and they have some talent, but they overestimate their talent, and because of which they assume certain things in their life. And for example, many students, they think, oh, I know this subject. I know I'm very good at maths. I'm good at this. I'm good at that. It's like, 2 days are enough for me. I'll prepare well. And in this way, they become overconfident. And when they actually start, when they begin the preparation for their exam, they realize the volume of the syllabus, and they even though they're competent, even though they're talented, unfortunately, the time available is just not enough to complete the entire syllabus, and they'll not be able to revise the entire syllabus. So they feel what a great mistake they have committed. So likewise, when you're talented, when you think you are great, and you overestimate yourself and you do assumption. And that's what Dasharatha did. He said, okay, I know the Shabdavedi skill, and I hear some sound. It must be some tiger or lion. So he overestimated, he assumed, and he shot an arrow. For a king, killing a person without any mistake, that person has not done any mistake, is a greatest aparadha. It's a greatest mistake by a king. He cannot just kill people unnecessarily like this. And he did that too. He's a son of a sage. He's a Shravana Kumara. And this Shravana Kumara is the only son of the blind parents. Shravana Kumara had blind parents to take care. There's no one else. That blind parents have no other sons or daughters to look after. They're fully dependent on the Shravana Kumara. And for everything, their food, their water, their protection, they want to move from one place to another place. It is Shravana Kumara who was doing all that. He was carrying his father and mother with him on his shoulder, everywhere, protecting them, giving them water, giving them food, giving them protection, all those things. And now that Shravana Kumara, that young boy, was shot an arrow by Dasharatha Maharaj. What a great mistake. You see how overconfidence and assumption can take us towards a mistake and a catastrophe like this. And then Shravana Kumara was so worried. Who will take care of my parents? What will happen to my parents if I die? Who will understand the blind parents? Oh God, like that. He was, at the time of death, he was going through another kind of pain, and he was crying. And as he was crying, and Dasharatha was watching this with great agony, and the Shravana Kumara died on that spot. That was a big shock to Dasharatha Maharaj. And then what to do? He said, oh, my parents are nearby. They're waiting for me to fetch the water. Actually, the parents, the blind parents, they were very old parents. They wanted water to drink. They were thirsty. That is why Shravana Kumara had gone to nearby river to bring that water. And now that the Shravana Kumara is dead, now who will give them water? And then Dasharatha Maharaj, he told his people, okay, look for those old parents nearby in the forest. And they all searched, and finally they got Shravana Kumara's parents, old parents, sitting and waiting for their son to come back. And then Dasharatha Maharaj, with great guilt, with so much of sadness, he's walking towards the Shravana Kumara's parents to break this news, to tell them that, look, I am the murderer of your son. I did great mistake because of my overconfidence in my sound archery, Shabdavedi. Like that, Dasharatha is walking, and the old couple, the parents, were waiting for Shravana Kumara to come back. Now they're hearing and they're able to make out by the walking sound and walking style, because they're blind, they cannot see, and they were able to hear the sound. They said, it's somebody else. It is not our son. And they said, Shravana Kumara, where are you? Where are you? Come fast, someone else is coming. Because you see, they're already old, they're always afraid, and because they are in the forest, and they're worried, who is this coming to us? That somebody, whoever is coming, could be an enemy, could be somebody who can harm them. So they're asking, but Shravana Kumara is not there to answer. He's dead. Just think of those old parents. And then Dasharatha, he comes close to them, and these old parents are so scared. They do not know who is that person who has come to them. And then Dasharatha says, hey, my dear parents of Shravana Kumara, I am the king, Dasharath, the king of this great kingdom called Ayodhya. And they say, oh king, okay, oh king, what happened? Why have you come to the forest? And why did you come to us? Where is our son? And then Dasharatha Maharaj said, I'm so sorry to break this news to both of you. Today, with my own hands, I killed your son. Even though I am a king, the responsibility of the king is to give protection, especially the protection of the good people. But actually, with my own hands, I killed your son because of my own mistake, my own assumption, my own overconfidence. And this is the greatest mistake I've done. And when Dasharatha Maharaj revealed this news, it immediately pierced the hearts of the Shravana Kumara's old parents like the arrows. Like Dasharatha Maharaj killed Shravana Kumara with the arrow, but now Dasharatha Maharaj almost killed these old blind parents with his own words, with such a horrible words that your son is no more, your son is dead, and I killed your son. With this kind of words, Dasharatha Maharaj almost killed those old parents. And they started crying, and they said, oh, who will take care of us? Who will understand these old blind parents like our son? Then Dasharatha said, I am there, I will take care. They said, oh, my dear king, you may take care, but after all, you are a king. You will not be able to take the position of our son, who was so devoted. He had dedicated his entire life for us. Our happiness, our well-being, our protection was the only life, on the goal of our son's life. That is the topmost priority for Shravana Kumara. He's dead. Oh, alas, hey son Shravana Kumara, how can we be alive without you? And they were crying. Their heart was filled with pain, and they got angry. They got angry. You killed our son. You made us suffer like this. You made us cry like this. And the father and mother of Shravana Kumara, out of that pain, they cursed Dasharatha Maharaj. They said, oh brutal king, oh cruel king Dasharatha Maharaj, you killed our son who was an innocent. You made us go through this great pain and suffering in our old age. We curse you that you also die in your old age because of your son. Your son will be the cause of your death. You will also, like us, cry for your son, suffer for our son, and you will also die. This is the painful, words from our heart. Like this, the Shravana Kumara's parents, they cursed Dasharatha Maharaj, and they died. They passed away on spot. They were not able to tolerate this news. They were not able to live without their son. They passed away. They gave up their life on the spot. This was a shocking incident that happened in the Dasharatha Maharaja's life before Lord Rama was born. Actually, this incident shook the mind, shook the entire existence of Dasharath. Not just Dasharath, ministers, soldiers, in fact, every citizens of Ayodhya. From that day onwards, even though the Ayodhya Vasis, The citizens of Ayodhya were expert in this Shabdavedi skill, the sound archery skill, but nobody dared to go and practice it once again because they were so scared. What if we do mistake? So this, now let us understand how overconfidence in our life looks like such a good thing. Oh, I'm confident. I think I can shoot an arrow. I think I know who is that. Oh, I think that must be a tiger. That must be a lion. Without checking, yes, we should all have confidence. But overconfidence means you do not do verification. We do not check. Our ego takes the control over us. I am great. I know it very well. Oh, I have done it many times. I have done it many times. I don't have to do any practice. I don't have to prepare well. I don't have to verify. I don't have to recheck. The ego takes over. Assumptions will happen. And in that case, we overestimate. We wrongly make decisions and choice. And we end up in a big calamity like Dasharatha Maharaj. This is the reason why Dasharatha Maharaj, he also died crying for Lord Rama, suffering, calling out, hey Rama, Rama, don't leave me, don't go to forest, don't leave me, don't leave me. Like those Shravana Kumara's parents, how they cried, calling out their son's name, Shravana Kumara, like that Dasharatha also, Rama, Rama, don't leave me, Rama, like that cried out Rama's name and he died. See, just imagine even a great personality like Dasharatha Maharaj, who is none other than the father of the Supreme Lord, Lord Rama, is teaching us a lesson that no matter how competent you are, no matter how talented you are, no matter how powerful you are, but still it is important for us not to be overconfident in our life. If we become overconfident, it will only take us to this kind of a mistakes, and those mistakes can actually create disaster in our life, like what happened in Dasharatha's case. He will not be able to make Shravana Kumara alive once again. And it is not just Shravana Kumara who died because of Dasharatha's overconfidence. His parents, Shravana Kumara's parents also passed away for the same reason. So it is not one death, totally 3 deaths because of one mistake called overconfidence. And later, Dasharatha himself had to go through a horrible situation in his life. So I request all of you, there are many situations, there are many occasions in our life where we all think overconfidence is something, oh, I am so great. I know it very well. I know it how to do. I have done it many times. No matter whatever it is. Like for example, aeroplane. If you have ever traveled by flight, every time, every takeoff, they do every check once again. They have a checklist. The captain or whoever it is, the floor captain or flying captain, they may have so many flying hours experience to their name, to their credit. They know many times we are done. Doesn't matter. This time we will not check. No, they know. 180 people lives are in our hand. We cannot play around. Even though 100 times, 1,000 times I have experience of flying an aeroplane, but still every time before I take over, they do entire flight recheck, all the technical sags and all the technical competences, compliances, everything they check. Why? Because certain responsibilities, certain activities require us to be cautious. You see, confidence should always go with caution. Just because I'm confident does not mean that I don't exercise my caution. Right? Many times we see this. Confidence doesn't mean I don't have, people think confidence means I don't have to be cautious. No, confidence with caution can always take us towards success. Confidence without caution can only take us towards calamity. Confidence without caution is a calamity. Confidence with caution is called cleverness or success. So this is a mistake that we can see in Ramayana, in the life of Dasharatha, of being overconfident, and because of which assumption and such a big disaster. This is the reason why in the Ayodhya city, nobody hence after, after henceforth, they didn't practice this archery skill, sound archery skill, Shabdavedi. So they all know it, but they're not able to use it. Like that, we also, if mistake happens, we may have it, some talent, but we may not be able to use it because the consequences are so serious. I request all of you to please think about this. Wherever in our life we are overconfident, if you are a student, don't be overconfident of your subjects. Don't take your exam preparation so lightly, so easily. Or if you are a working man, be conscious of your, don't be overconfident of your health. Oh, it's okay. I know how to take care of my health. Whole night I will work. I will not eat on time. I will not sleep on time. No, we have to be cautious about our health. We have to be cautious about our well-being. Just because I'm young doesn't mean I can be overconfident and can do anything, all those things, and risk our health. So all of us, if you're a businessman, we have to be cautious where we invest, what we do. If your parents, don't be overconfident about your child's growing up. You must take care of every aspect of our child. Like this, everybody should exercise their confidence with their caution. This is the first lesson that we all learn, that mistake that we should not repeat in our life is becoming overconfident. With this, we'll stop here. Tomorrow, we will again meet to discover another mistake to be avoided in our life that we learn from Ramayana. Thank you so much for all of your time. It is such a pleasure meeting you, speaking to all of you during this Navratri. Hare Krishna.